Welcome to Payroll Setup Lesson number 2 on setting up union codes in the Codes tab. Now as you enter the payroll program, we're going to work in the Codes tab, so let's click that open. You can see that I have a number of union codes already set up as a visual example to you on what union codes are. Then I'll show you how you can set them up. Very simple here. But basically, when you look at the list of codes here, each code represents a separate union report that you submit to each local. So within a local 110 for example, you can have multiple union codes that represent each different type of worker or report that you submit to that union. So this is why I wanted to have a visual, so you can see that depending on how many different types of workers that you submit reports to within that union, you're going to want to set up a union code for each of those reports or types of workers. We're going to use union codes very extensively as we begin setting up the payroll program, because the union codes relate everything together, the pay rates, the deductions, the benefits for each union report, so they are very important. Obviously, if you don't have a union payroll, then you can skip this whole tab altogether. Now, setting up union codes is a very simple proposition here. When we click New on the toolbar, it takes us over to our entry edit fields where we can then begin entering a union code. So as we press enter through the fields, that's when we enter our information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on an existing one from my list because I want to make a correction to a spelling here. But if you're setting up your codes for the first time, you'll get an explanation of these fields as you need them to set up your own codes. First of all, the code itself. In this visual example, you can see that we're using the local and then the actual union code. In this case, local 110, apprentice 3. And so all these codes over here at the left in the list represent each code that we're going to use for our different reports. The local number just represents which local this code belongs to. And then you can put in a description of your union code, as you can see here. Now I'm going to make a correction to a spelling so that it looks nice on our list at the left. And I'm just pressing enter through these fields, so I'm not going to enter information in all of them, but just the ones that I need for my particular union reports. Now the hourly rate, this gets printed on the actual report, so you can for this union code put in what the hourly rate is for that particular report. And if you have a benefit package, you can put the total of the benefit package in this benefit field here too that will also print on the report. You can, if you also like or would like COBRA's union reports to print out where you're paying this to, phone number and the wage class, very important, that prints out on the report, and also where you're mailing this to. Then when you print out your union reports, all of this will be on the report. So as you can either press enter through these fields, and as you enter the bottom, get to the bottom of the screen, it will ask you if you want to save the union information, and you can say yes, or at any time as you're entering through the fields, you can just come up and click save to save the union code itself. So when I say yes, what it did in this case was replaced it on my list, because this is the one that I changed, and I changed the description here. So once you do see your union codes at the left, if you need to change them on a yearly basis or whatever, you can double click on one and just press enter through the fields, making all the changes that you need to. So we're going to use union codes quite extensively as we get into the payroll setup. So if you're a union contractor, you're going to like how this works and how it all comes together. This ends the lesson on setting up union codes.